kind of no way around this. We're struggling, and I just want to be as honest as I possibly can. So I talked about it yesterday. We've had some YouTube problems that are inexplicable, utterly and completely inexplicable. Twice in the last 2 weeks, YouTube has just shut us down and said, you're not allowed to stream anymore. And we said, well, why? And they said, we screwed up, our bad. And we have no answers, none. Then today, we had a software problem. Now, this makes us look very Bush League. And I can only apologize profusely for that and say that I'm very sorry. As I told you before, there's not going to be a show tomorrow, so I know how Griffin's going to spend his Wednesday. We could use advice, consulting. Maybe we'll reach out to our buddy Josh Soroka, see if he's got some answers for us. Because clearly what we've been doing ain't been working, and there's no real easy explanation for it. It's nice because we have this software that we use in order to send to multiple places, which is good. And the back end, so that Griffin can put stuff up on the screen for you to see. It's fairly user friendly. We all know how to use it, and we like that. But it does this wacky bit where it just doesn't work, like once every couple of weeks. And is that related to the problems that we're having on YouTube? I don't know. I have no idea, because no human being exists to answer the questions. You just can't. There's no way to talk to a human being. You can talk to an AI, but the AI can't help. This is life in 2026. And little mom and pop shop over here makes life really, really difficult. So, sincerest apologies. We're going to attempt to press on. We're going to attempt to see if we can't go hitch-free. At least we had a stacked group. At least the Orioles didn't change the schedule and screw up our guest schedule for the day. At least we had a stacked group of guests for you on top of that. Everything going swimmingly over here. As you can tell, I'm not panicked at all. This is the voice that I use when I'm very happy. When I'm very happy, I speak like this because I'm so happy about how everything is going. And not at all wanting to ball my fists into rage and punch everything in this room. I definitely don't want to do that because I'm happy.
I found a Brennan Young strikeout. Do we want that? Here. Here's Brandon Young striking out somebody in the first inning, courtesy of Masson. Pitch.
Oh, F off. Not Brandon Young. Not Brandon Young. Hey, there's that. Brandon Young went 5 scoreless innings last night.
Should they put him out for a 6th, or just because of the cold? Because of the
it was cold. I don't know how prepared he was. I had not been paying a lot of attention to Brandon Young. Yes, he looked fine. Whatevs. He went 5 scoreless. He allowed 4 base runners over 5. So Brandon Young is man of the match for the first time this season.
My brother said Buck Britton maybe should have been
for sending Adley around.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean. So we can talk about it, right? Mixed bag for it. First of all, I like Austin Hayes, and so I'm bummed for Austin Hayes. That sucked. I definitely didn't think that. 2 things. I didn't think that ball was dropping fair. I didn't think Gunner's home run was fair. I thought they were both foul balls for sure. So, game of inches, they say. It's something I just came up with, actually. That's what baseball is. It's game of inches. So, on the Tyler O'Neill one, it is absolutely infuriating, and I am with everybody that has this opinion.
This clip is not going to show O'Neill, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. But it is infuriating. By the way, it looks like Adley would have been out had the ball been caught at the plate. So I don't know if we credit Buck Britton as man of the match because he kind of got lucky that the ball wasn't caught at home plate. Absolutely unacceptable that Tyler O'Neill is only standing on first base there. Unfathomable. And it goes back to a conversation that we've had a few times about Manny Machado.
I don't know. Manny never stood in the batter's box and didn't move.
No, he jogged. Yeah. He didn't run it out, and that's the part that's frustrating.
And he was also Manny Machado.
That's the part. It's the thing, again, from a football perspective, not from a garbage human being perspective. It's the comparison that I make to Brett Favre, right? Like, Brett Favre was going to throw a lot of interceptions, but you were going to deal with that because he was Brett Favre. He was going to throw a lot of interceptions. He was going to allegedly steal a lot of money. Like, that's what Brett Favre did, but he was Brett Favre. You dealt with it. And that was always what I said about Manny Machado. Did I wish that Manny Machado ran hard out of the box every time? Hell yeah, I wish he did. But I was going to put up with it every time because he was Manny Machado. And the argument that you get from talking to a certain percentage of baseball players, not all of them, but some, is that, yeah, sure, everybody should run hard out of the box all of the time and should always be running hard. But the truth is, these guys know that's not going to be a hit. I can't make that a hit, and I'm not going to run the risk of something happening on a play where nothing good is going to occur. The trade-off for the 1 out of 10 that you hit a ground ball to shortstop and somehow the guy just starts bobbling the ball. Because, again, if he throws it away, it really doesn't matter if you were running hard or not. If he throws it away, you're going to get there. So what is the world where if you hit a ground ball and you don't run it out, the difference was your hustle out of the box? It's specifically if the ground ball is booted a couple of times. So 1 out of every 10, your lack of hustle, not even 10, 1 out of every 100, I don't even know what it is. 1,000? I mean, I can't believe I said 10.
Or?
No, I'm saying specifically on
a ground ball.
Ground ball, 1 out of every. I don't know what the number is.
Like you saw with Jake Magnum the other night. Like, it's
I'm not saying it never happens.
If you run hard, it sometimes forces pressure on the defense.
You keep saying sometimes. It's.
I have no sympathy for somebody who doesn't leave the batter's box. Like,
stop for a second. You're having 3 different conversations instead of just following. The math is that it's so rare that the trade-off is worth it. The math of what is the percentage chance that something is going to go wrong on this play is similar to the math of what is the percentage chance that you're going to get hurt running out this ball.
If Tyler O'Neill talked to the media after the game.
Stop for a second.
And started breaking down formulas.
I'm trying to go back to it. I'm just having a conversation. I promise. We'll get to Tyler O'Neill. I promise. That is the argument that a specific percentage of veteran baseball players will make. And they're probably right. The likelihood of something happening on a ground ball that would end up making it a difference if you would run it out or not is probably pretty similar to the likelihood of you get hurt in the process of running out a ground ball percentage-wise. And that's the math they're doing in their head. It's not jaking it because they disrespect the game. It's, I'm being honest about what's happening here. There's even a third layer to it, which is like, there's a certain percentage of like hardcore baseball players that would say, I almost feel like I'm robbing the game. I didn't do my job. Trying to BS my way into reaching base out of it feels disingenuous. Now, I don't care about that.
Well, almost like that the replay overturn on the stolen base yesterday. Like,
oh yeah, that's definitely not the reason.
The spirit of the game. Yeah,
correct.
that's not the spirit
not
of the
the reason why we have it, but that's what
result,
it is.
Yeah,
right. The O'Neill thing, I want to be a little bit more specific about, because it's both. Tyler O'Neill both likely thought that the ball was either going to be foul or caught. And clearly, had it not been for Austin Hayes coming up lame, it would have been caught. It would have been caught easily. Does that give him a pass? No. And more specifically, you're Tyler O'Neill. You haven't earned it. There's no sweat equity here. There's no, hey man, look, I wish he would have run, but come on, dude, give so-and-so a break. Manny Machado got a break from me because he was Manny Machado. Tyler O'Neill is Tyler O'Neill. You have to hustle. You have to. You have to earn that respect. And the second layer to it is the more important layer. That part of why Tyler O'Neill is allegedly here is to be the veteran who sets the tone. And the stuff that we talked about yesterday, and Jeremiah Jackson not playing first base correctly on a bunt, this is the type of stuff that the Tyler O'Neills of the world are supposed to be showing to the Jackson Holidays when they're here, Colton Cowsers, Dylan Beavers. This is what we do. We put in immense effort all the time. Doesn't matter what the weather is, doesn't matter what the result is, doesn't matter what the score of the game is. We are putting in effort. And so, yeah, I'm as frustrated as everybody else is. And I think it goes back to, like, when it's funny because I asked Buck last week, what should we be looking for in a new manager? And the word that he used was consistency. And, like, that's a broad term that I don't think defines exactly what you need from a manager. I appreciate that Craig Albernaz isn't, he doesn't believe he's going to, showing up his guys isn't his concern. And, he said afterwards that he would, we're going to talk to Tyler about that. Okay. Doesn't happen again. 3 days from now, do we see another guy who isn't hustling out of the box? Does this happen again? I certainly don't think Craig Albernaz suggested to Tyler O'Neill, hey man, if you hit a pop fly down the left field line and it looks like it's going to be caught, don't run it out. I don't think that's what the message was from Craig Albernaz. I think that's on Tyler O'Neill. And if Tyler O'Neill screws up, I think Craig Albernaz has the right to come over to him and say, bet you feel pretty dumb about that, don't you? Yeah, Skip. I know. All right. That's the end of that. And as long as it doesn't happen again, or as long as Dylan Beavers doesn't do it in 2 days, or someone else, then that's that. If we keep seeing it, then to me it's a reflection of the manager. And I know there's a broader conversation there about what managers are and aren't allowed to do in baseball in 2026, and not yelling at guys and not being in their faces and not being demonstrative and all of that sort of stuff. You're sort of just there to be the guy who knows what the analytics say, and here's the guy that I put up at the plate at this point because the data tells me that that's what I do. I understand that's what the role of a manager has become in 2026. But at the same time, that's not acceptable to me. And I'd like to hope that it's not acceptable to anybody else. For now, it's on Tyler O'Neill. He's got to know. He knows. He was frustrated. That was stupid. He looked like a horse's ass. Fine. Don't let it happen again. And it needs to be a message to the rest of the team that it's not going to happen again. And that's where, to me, it's, and if it happens again, you're sitting. There's got to be some sort of message. And I understand when somebody's a millionaire, it's very difficult for any of these messages to actually matter to them. And there are guys that you wouldn't do this with. Guys just said it. That's Manny Machado. Manny Machado does so many things so well that when he doesn't run out a ground ball, he doesn't, it's not a, hey, next time you do that, you're sitting down. Because then you're just hurting yourself. But for Tyler O'Neill, he's not so much better than the next option. if this is who Tyler O'Neill's going to be, he can sit. Period. I hope that's the only time we ever talk about it. I hope it's the only time it ever occurs. I no reason to think this is the story of Tyler O'Neill. He certainly does not have a reputation as a guy who, doesn't give it his all.
Well, short of hitting like 5 home runs this week, I think he's going to be on my bottom 3 next week.
I mean, he also made a really great catch in right field.
Good. He should have ran out. He cost them a run. He cost them like that. He's scoring on that Mountcastle single the very next play.
I understand that.
Well, maybe not because he doesn't run out, plays. So
it's not much of a. He's not a very particularly fast runner to begin with.
Adley scored from first on that play.
I understand.
Come on.
I understand that Adley scored from first on that play, and I think Tyler O'Neill should have been running. That's. I agree on that assessment with you on it.
Adley was basically home while O'Neill was still in the batter's box. It was.
No, that's not true, but I understand your frustration. I understand it. I'm giving it to you. Unquestionably, should have been running and should not have only been on first base. Agreed on all accounts. In the end, the Orioles won, and that's the part that actually matters. They needed a win. They got it. Now they get to turn around and throw Trevor Rogers tonight. So, as bleak as things felt, you're hoping that clinches a series win and that the ship starts to right. But a little more offense in the process. That would be nice. We'll see. We'll see as the series. I said tonight. It's obviously this afternoon. 3:10. That's when that game is going to happen. Today's show brought to you by, it's brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Stan, Ross, and Luke got together yesterday to talk some baseball, talk some Orioles. If you missed it live, you can find it by going to youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video, or Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. As always, Stan's shows are brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn, with 2 great locations. One in Timonium, that's the new one, the OG as well in Dundalk. Lot of discussion, lot of hullabaloo about Lamar Jackson from the national media yesterday. And a lot of people pointing out some of the inconsistencies of some of the folks in the national media, and some of the people that have talked out of both sides of their mouth, and some of the people that have said one thing at 8 a.m. and another thing at 10 a.m., and some people that, and I have something that I want to say about it.
Uh-oh.
Who gives a shit? What is wrong with you? Why do you care what Dan Orlovsky said at 8 o'clock a.m., at 10 a.m., at 12 p.m., at 3 p.m., at 9 p.m. about Lamar Jackson being at a team workout? Why does anyone care about this topic? I don't care that Lamar Jackson was there. As I said before, I don't think it can hurt. I don't think it can be a bad thing that Lamar Jackson's in the facility. But does it matter to me whether Lamar Jackson is doing wind sprints in Owings Mills or whether he's doing wind sprints in Pompano Beach? Not really. If Lamar Jackson showed up in August and was 250 pounds, then I'd be a little bit more concerned that he wasn't working out. But I don't care where Lamar Jackson does his wind sprints. I don't. The dumbest of the dumb, the lowest common denominator thing that we say is, well, this year he needs to be there because it's a new coach and a new coordinator and new everything. Okay. I don't share this opinion. As I said before, I don't think it hurts. I don't think it can be a bad thing that Lamar Jackson isn't there. I don't think it's a bad thing that I guess I don't. Does that mean that we expect that Lamar Jackson is going to be there more frequently? As was pointed out by quite a few people yesterday, there have been times in the past where Lamar Jackson showed up on one day of team activities and then didn't show up the next day of team activities or the next week or whatever it was. I have no idea what this means. If Lamar Jackson is purposefully not trying to get to know the Ravens playbook, that's a problem. But the Ravens aren't on the practice field this week. They're just doing wind sprints. This is part of sort of the conversation and the dumbness of the conversation. That doesn't mean that while he's in the building, he's not having the conversations with Declan Doyle. He probably is. Or maybe. Or maybe they're not doing that this week. Maybe they're saving that for another week. I don't know. I don't know that learning someone's offense when you're Lamar Jackson requires you to be... By the way, Lamar Jackson and Declan Doyle are the same age. I don't know that it requires you to be sitting down with like your mentor rubbing your back. Hey, bud, so split 2Y banana, you get it? I don't think it requires that. So I'm not worked up about this. And I never will be. And I don't care what anyone's opinion is about the subject. You can point out, well, this person was more involved in off-season activities, and they won the Super Bowl that year. Great. Now go back and do that math for every team that's won the Super Bowl every year and get an attendance report for every quarterback. And report to me how obviously the only way to win a Super Bowl is if your quarterback is there for every team activity throughout the course of the offseason. You won't. I know you won't.
But it can't be a bad thing.
I keep saying that. I've said that 100 things.
Like a ball might,
times.
ball's going to accidentally be thrown from Lamar to Zay Flowers, right? And
maybe.
There's probably a new concept or two that we at least can know they're thinking about.
Maybe.
And maybe with and the fact that I feel good about it is that Lamar being in the building means hopefully there's some sort of discourse between him and Eric DaCosta, I guess, right?
Maybe.
And then and that could lead to a new contract.
Maybe. It's all a giant maybe. It's a bunch of, we don't have anything to talk about right now, so we're going to talk about this.
Well, yeah, like football.
That's what it is. There's no roster moves to be made. The draft's still a couple of weeks away. We don't have anything new to talk about today, so now we're going to harp on Lamar Jackson being in a facility. This is the appropriate way to report about Lamar Jackson, a video of Lamar Jackson walking into a building yesterday. Okay.
Oh, there was also a video of him running around, as you said, running around, yeah. Well, he was doing pull-ups, too.
Okay. That's it. That's it. But I get it. The way this works is we have to say something louder than that. We have to all be assholes about it. We have to all say the loudest, dumbest thing that we can possibly say. And that's the reason why I don't work at those places, because I just don't have it in me to do the loudest, dumbest thing. Am I happy that Lamar Jackson's at the facility? No, I don't care. Would I be angry if Lamar Jackson wasn't at the facility? No, I wouldn't care. I care about whether or not Lamar Jackson plays football in September, plays well, wins. That's what I care about. It's the only thing I care about. I know that some people want to try to tie winning in September is based on whether or not you're there in April. Well, what does that mean for all the times Lamar Jackson wasn't there? Because they did an awful lot of winning in September. And if you're trying to suggest to me that this is the difference as to whether or not you can win in January, I just don't have it for you. I don't. To me, I don't know how Lamar Jackson's presence in April has anything to do with, like, for example, whether or not Tyler Loop makes a kick at the end of a game in Pittsburgh. How are those two things related? I'm not. I don't think that there can be a negative.
If Lamar had been there last April, Tyler Loop would have known, oh, Lamar cares.
Okay, and so then he
And
would
then
have tried harder.
Yeah, he would have
Right.
tried harder. He wouldn't.
Right. That's a good point. When you put it that way,
Yeah.
it is a game changer. Now that I think about it a little bit more, it's a total game changer. This means Tyler Luke.
And we got a new punter, so it's good that the punter and Lamar are getting acquainted.
No idea if that guy's the punter or not. He's just a guy who punts that they brought
What's his
into
name?
the
Luke
building.
something?
Or I don't remember. Something's doesn't end with a GA.
Yeah,
It's not a
there's lot of
riser,
vowels
but it
in
sort
there
of looks like
too.
I have no idea if he's the punter or not. He's just a guy who has punted, and so
Luke Elzinga.
Elzinga, sure. Wasn't that? Didn't we watch him on The Big Bang Theory? Elzinga. I never watched an episode of that show.
Here, there's a 2-minute highlight of him
Nope.
punting.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, all right. Sure, if you insist.
Nope. Not doing that. Can do a lot of things around here, but we're not gonna do
Let's
that.
just see where this one lands.
Mm-hmm.
The lefty.
Neato, gang. Neato.
Look at that. Fair catch.
The other story from yesterday was the story that Dexter Lawrence perhaps wants out of New York. And that is mildly interesting to me, based specifically on this. I hope as the Ravens have been making their offseason plans, they know what the answer is on Nnamdi Madubuike. I don't really care that we don't know what the answer is. I hope they know what the answer is. Because if they're basing it around, well, maybe we're going to have Nnamdi Madubuike, then I wouldn't be aggressive to perhaps go pursue a Dexter Lawrence. They're basing it around we think we're going to have Nnamdi Madubuike, then I wouldn't be aggressive. But if they don't have, significant reason to feel that way, and I know all the tea leaves have been about how optimistic they are, if they don't have genuine reason for that amount of confidence, then I do think this is a different conversation. I always assume that they're not going to be the team to make an aggressive move, but it is complicated given the Nnamdi Madubuike picture. Come back in, put the finishing touches on college hoops season and Michigan's title. Plus, we'll talk some lacrosse as well with our buddy Patrick Stevens. That's next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Hey Birdlands, Family Sundays presented by Empowering Education are a day full of fun for kids of all ages. Before the game, meet the Orioles mascots, grab autographs, and watch the kids take the field for the national anthem. During the game, kids take over with kid-friendly music and inning breaks, kid guest splashers, and more. After the final out, stay for Kids Run the Bases presented by Wise Markets, where kids 4 to 12 can run the bases just like the pros. Bring your whole fam to the yard on Sundays. Visit Orioles.com/Family Sundays.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs in the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website costasinn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnkin. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnkin LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. Today's show brought to you by CountySports.Zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Everything you need to know about high school baseball, softball, lacrosse, all the spring sports. Every school, every level, all throughout the state. You can find it right now by going to CountySports.Zone. Again, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. InsideMDSports.com reports that Josiah Harper and Nick Blake, the son of Steve Blake, have decided they are going to enter the transfer portal. Let's talk some college basketball this morning after Michigan claimed the national championship last night over UConn. Put the finishing touches on hoops. Talk some lacrosse as well. You know him from the Raleigh News and Observer, as well as the Ovius and Giglio show, and you can follow him at Discourse, USA Lacrosse Magazine as well. He's Mr. Patrick Stevens, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Patrick, good morning. How are you, my friend?
I am well. I'm wondering if you're going to ask me what last night's result did.
Just
for
wondering. I was going to say, what does the Michigan title mean for Tom Izzo? That's actually
Tom Izzo. I suppose that works too.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Patrick, look, the discourse that has probably no pun intended. The discourse that has probably been the loudest about Michigan's title is one of two things. It's either where they are among the great teams, and I do think that like last night's game being a bit of a dud kind of slowed down some of that conversation, but I do think that there's some warranted conversation about how dominant they were throughout the course of this tournament and for a lot of this season. And then a lot of discourse about the fact that it was all 5 transfers in the starting 5 and this is the new way of basketball and people that don't like it, but at the same time, like, that's just the way that the sport works now, so it feels very much like an old man yelling at a cloud.
Well, let's start with the second part of that first. The fact is that everybody has unrestricted free agency every year in college basketball at this point. So if the issue is like, why do they have all these transfers? Well, it's because there's a gazillion people that actually put themselves in a position where they can transfer. And while, I would love to sit here and have a scenario where we're talking about, guys developing in the same program and being part of the same team for 3 or 4 years and all that stuff, with what the rules are right now, that just isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
When you can basically go out and essentially field larger offers for yourself every year. Now, we can sit here and debate the relative merits of, well, if, is $100,000 for a year worth whatever cost there might be in terms of building up goodwill and sort of being, kind of a program fixture and all that stuff. But you know what? Do you expect, if you were 20 years old, would you be thinking about that, or would you be thinking about, can I make an extra $100,000 or more? I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. And so I think some of it, there's definitely going to be some nostalgia there, and somebody's going to come along. And if Connecticut had made a couple extra shots in the second half, we might have been talking about them in this way, where it's like, oh well, Solo Ball's been there for a few years, and Caravan's a 5th-year guy, and Terrace Reed was back for another year, and sure, he transferred and all that, and you'd be going down the line of all these guys that were kind of homegrown. It's like, look, UConn can make it work this way. You don't have to turn the roster over every year. And frankly, UConn being in the national title game, in addition to like Braylon Mullins hitting a ridiculous shot in transition, in the regional final is also a credit to having had all these guys around. I think both ways can still work, but the reality is that if you think you're just going to be able to hold on to everybody year after year, it just isn't going to happen. And as for like the all-timer team, people love to have that conversation right after a championship. And I think first of all, you're right. Like the fact that last night was like, okay, well, how much better were they than UConn, which I think people probably figured was about the fifth or sixth best team over the course of the year. I don't know that this is an all-timer of a team. I think it was a really, really good team that handled what it had in front of it. And I think, too, it helps that was a team that went out and looked great in November and looked great at the end of March. And so your first impression and your last impression were both really good. And, two, let's give them credit, that was a team that could score a lot. I mean, they did not, even when they lost, outside of the loss to Duke, they were just simply getting outscored. It wasn't that anybody was really stopping them. You look at the Big Ten tournament loss, you look at the loss to Wisconsin was like 91-88. Basically, like Michigan's offense was really, really efficient. And I think people tend to also not necessarily overvalue, but place greater value on can you go out and score, which is important because like when you get to the end of the season, you got to score to win against really good teams. But, I'm not sure that covers everything because Michigan was a good defensive team too. But I think in general, you're also talking about, do we want to compare them to like Duke 92 or Kentucky 96 that had all these veteran guys that had played together for multiple seasons. So I'm a little reluctant to go there, especially since you really can't, put them, I guess you could create a video game and whatnot, but you can't actually put those teams on the court at the same time.
And to the point, like they, Yaxel Landenberg, probably their best player, did not have a very good game last night, and yet they were never really threatened all that much, right? Like it was more like we were saying, wow, UConn's only down by a little bit. That's impressive. Like they never were really all that threatened despite their best player having a really off night.
Yeah, and I think too, like there was really only one spot where you thought, well, they're one play away from being in trouble.
Yeah.
That was after UConn got within 4 in the last minute on that three-pointer, and you're like, this could get interesting if they can get a turnover. And instead, Michigan went down, made 2 free throws, and then Connecticut had a long possession for what it needed right there. And Michigan defended really well, and that was basically that when they missed a shot. So, end of the day, that you just kind of chalk that up right there as like they had a lot of Elliot Cadeau was probably their 5th or 6th best player over the course of the season, and played great last night.
Sure did.
Johnson had a fabulous game. Merritt had a fabulous game. So they just even watching them early in the year, you're like, well, they sure have a lot of answers, don't they? And that kind of played itself out right to the end, even if nobody is going to nominate that to be the best national title game we've ever seen. It was better than UConn Butler 2011. We'll give it that.
Sure.
But it was not a work of art by any stretch.
It was definitely in the Maryland Indiana argument. Like
I'd say that. I think that's fair. Probably a little bit better a game than that.
Probably.
Of course, that game was closer for a stretch in the second half.
That's fair.
Back in 2002, but the end kind of played itself. I mean, the gap between Maryland and Indiana in 2002 was larger than the gap between Michigan and UConn this year.
Agreed. Patrick, one more on Michigan, and I think that's the question about it. Was this 1 year, one team, or is this, hey, if Dusty May's going to be there for a while, they might win a bunch of these because he's just that good?
Well, you know me. I think, and this opinion has not changed regardless of what's happened in the sport. It's hard to win 6 in a row in a single elimination format. So, do I think that Michigan has a chance to be relevant? Well, they they've got money, right?
Yep.
Like the Big Ten and SEC teams all have more money than everybody else because of the TV contracts.
Most of them anyway.
Most of them anyway, of course.
Yeah.
How silly of me. How silly of me. But do I think that they're going to have more staying power than, say, Baylor, which hasn't been past the round of 32 since it won its title in 2021? Yeah, I think they will. I find it really, really hard to think that you're going to have anybody that's definitively going to stack titles.
I get that.
In this era.
I get that.
And I would point out, as much as we like to make this reference, like Tom Izzo has only won one national
That's a
title,
fact.
Despite having had teams in the Final Four, some of them that worked really hard in March to get there, and probably were not among the 5 or 6 best teams in the country.
Yep.
You would have thought when Izzo made 3 straight Final Fours and put a national title right in the middle of those back in 99 to 01, that he was probably going to win 2 or 3 more at that point, and didn't, which is not a knock on him because it's hard to do that. Like the best you can hope for, I think, is get a little injury luck. I mean, is UConn even there? Does Duke have to, or does Michigan have to deal with Duke if there's a fully healthy Duke with Caleb Foster healthy and Gongba and all those guys? I mean, that's part of this, right? Like if you're Michigan, you can't control that. Obviously, if you're Duke, you can't control that either. You don't know who's going to end up having a little injury luck, who's going to end up having a little bracket luck along the way. Although I will point out, I'm not sure Michigan had a ton of bracket luck other than getting to face a 6th seed in the Elite Eight.
The way that you described it obviously is the more appropriate way. To me, it's more like I just can't help but notice that this dude has now gone to a Final Four at Florida Atlantic and won a national championship in just like 2 years. I mean, I just think that this guy might be proving that he's different than your average coach, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that. Do I think we'll see Michigan back in the Final Four again sometime in the next 3 or 4 years? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But the vagaries of being able to stay healthy, of hitting into poor, like they hit on everybody.
Yep, you're right.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry, you can sit there and go, oh, they were great, and they were, but you're probably not going to hit on everybody every single year, and you've got to figure out a way not only to hit talent-wise, but you've got to hit in a way where people are willing to play off of each other, as opposed to you have to avoid selfish players, and to be able to do that year after year, not necessarily easy. And by the way, the portal opens up today and unrestricted free agency begins today, but Michigan probably, even with the resources that they have, probably isn't as well equipped to dive right into that at this very moment than a bunch of teams whose seasons ended a week or 2 ago, because they've had other things on their plate. And I know everybody has, we got people working on the portal. That's great, but let's face it, like you're not marshaling all your resources towards this. To continue an analogy we made last week, it would be as if free agency in the NFL began the day after the Super Bowl. And you would say, well, those 2 teams playing in the Super Bowl probably haven't been completely focused on what they're going to do, with their offseason, because they've had more important things to worry about. So curious to see what happens with Michigan. It's interesting, that was one of the things that I remember talking to Chris Carrawell from Duke about last summer in our Blue Ribbon interview, where he's like, look, we were playing until the last weekend. We really didn't have much time to be dealing with portal stuff and thinking about stuff, which is why they didn't have a whole lot to show for it in there. But, clearly starting it later will help those teams that play deep into the tournament. But I still think there's a slight disadvantage that you're more than willing to take if it means you're playing on the last day of the season.
I think that's the case. Patrick Stevens with us here on GCR. Let's cover a couple of other big topics. Obviously, last week we were talking about North Carolina. Tommy Lloyd could not have played that any better. Gets the deal from Arizona. Their pivot, one that I definitely didn't see coming, Loyola legend Michael Malone. There's a lot of, some that think that they kind of panicked, and some that what do you make of this? Because it really did come off as a bizarre hire to me.
So a couple things. One, it's fascinating to me, and this has gotten worse, I think, in the portal era, where athletic administration and even above them view coaching hires as a race. And the thought of like wasting a single year is simply verboten. And so if you're North Carolina, are you trying to make the best possible hire you could possibly make, or are you just trying to make a hire? Now, you're hiring a guy that won an NBA title a few years back. So it's not as if you're getting somebody that can't coach. But he's also somebody that hasn't coached in college in 25 years either. I was texting with a friend of mine. We were joking about, Larry Brown is plenty available. And, he'll probably break like the 2 or 3 remaining rules that the NCAA has.
Right.
But he could coach too, and he would have happily come on down to do this. Kind of weird. Feels like a bit rushed, especially since you knew, that at least as of Friday, that your top target was still around. So it seemed like a little rushed. Who knows how it works out? I mean, that's one of those, the record of these NBA coaches coming into the college game is spotty, let's say. You have some guys that bounce between the two, like Fred Hoiberg's a good example of somebody that has come and has enjoyed a bit of success coming back to the college game. But it's not hard to think of guys that it's like, how much of an adjustment was this for you? Were you really ready to do this? And are you ready to do things in a college that fits the college game as opposed to, well, I'm just going to transfer everything I've done in the NBA into this? No idea how this works for Carolina. Could be a scenario where somebody else is like, it could be like the exact pro model, right? Where you have the GM and they go and hire all the players and sign all the players, and then this guy coaches them up and they're really good again pretty soon. Or it could be somebody that's a fish out of water. So totally interested, but also kind of guessing. It's a dart throw as to exactly how that's going to work out in Chapel.
It appears as though the 76 teams is happening based on all of the word that came out of Indianapolis last week. I think it's insane. I don't think anyone is asking for this. I think this is bonkers, but it appears as they're going to do it. Will it be more damaging to the tournament than is being discussed, Patrick? Like I am so convinced that the brand of the tournament is as much about college basketball as it really is about the concept of filling out a bracket, that it's just something that all Americans can do. It's how fantasy football lifted the NFL at a time that the NFL was not king in this country. I am convinced that there is a damage to this that they just aren't thinking about, that they can't fathom by going to 76 teams.
Well, first of all, let me tell you who does want this.
Yeah, the power conferences.
The SEC and the Big Ten in particular want this, and so in the ACC and the Big 12 maybe to a lesser extent on that train as well. I mean, just think like we wouldn't have had how can we put in Auburn at 17 and 16 this year? And granted, Auburn went and did its job, right? They go to the NIT.
They'd win the NIT. That is true.
But that team would have been 6 spots safely into the field this year.
Yep.
So, your point about, when do you fill out the bracket? Like, are you filling out the bracket including those play-in games? Like, you could get away with ignoring 1 and then 4 play-in games. Can you ignore 12 of them?
I don't think so.
I don't know. So, I certainly think it's fair to ask that question. Are you going to find sort of the coveted Western Dayton to be the second site for this, and what would it be? Would it be Vegas, which has probably got a little bit of basketball exhaustion? Albuquerque kind of makes sense to me as a place that loves college basketball and fills the place up and all that. It kind of matches that profile. But you're right. Like, what's the scenario of keeping people engaged? And by the way, another thing that comes out of this is you start talking about making, you have more of those one-bid league teams that have to play. That makes the teams seated down there even stronger, So if you suddenly shunted more and more of them off, you have the potential of reversing what we've seen the last few years, where those 2 and 3 seeds and even 1 seeds might be a little bit more vulnerable
That's
depending on
interesting.
how things go.
It's an interesting thought that I hadn't considered. I hate it. I can't lie. I hate it. I am so not interested in it. But it is.
Well, don't worry. Don't worry. Somebody, the other people that are probably asking for this is the people running the gambling company.
That's true.
There's more Tuesday and Wednesday of the
That's a good point.
after Selection Sunday parlays to sell.
That's a good point. And then I mentioned before you came on that Jeff Furman was reporting the first couple of transfer portal entries for Maryland is Josiah Harper and Nick Blake, the son of Steve Blake, who, was a walk-on. He's going to go try to transfer down. But just give me your thumbnail about like how they go about completely reconstructing this roster over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Well, they're going to do what a lot of other people do, right? Like, I mean, the good thing if you're Maryland is that when you have
you've had lots of time. You've had lots of time.
You had lots of time, and the other thing is that you are free from being criticized for, well, you didn't hold on to X number of players, because there's only so many guys that you probably need to keep that have eligibility remaining. Obviously, like Andre Mills, fantastic down the stretch, and 12.2 points a game as a freshman, you take that night and day, right? So they have a lot of work to do. They absolutely need a point guard, and they absolutely need shooting, right? Like they shot 32% from three this year. They had a noticeable, point guard issue pretty much from start to finish. So those, I think, are the absolute biggest things for them. Those are 1 and 1A on the shopping list. And you're going to have a ton of. There's already a bunch of guys that have announced they're going in, so you probably have a head start in getting ready for that stuff. You have some freshmen, but this is not a day and age that you really want to be banking on your freshmen to be major contributors, no matter how many stars they have from the recruiting services. So it is very clearly a significant 2 or 3 weeks coming up here for Maryland, just because you can't afford to have what just happened occur again. It's not as if, I can give you 20 million reasons why it's not a coaching for your job season for Buzz Williams. But if you put up 2 stinkers in a row, it's already pretty clear that your fan base is going to tune you out. And for a school that doesn't sell enough football tickets to begin with, if basketball goes down the drain, it makes a bad situation worse.
Well, if there's good news, their lacrosse team is good at winning overtime games.
Yeah, it's a dicey situation down there. First of all, what a great story that was for Riley Reese, the son of Kathy Reese, the women's coach down there, Brian Reese, who played on 3 national finalists back in the 90s, had a couple seasons lost to injury. Really savvy play, like a son of a coach play, to kind of leave himself right there on the crease with a pole and be able to take that pass from Eric Spanos, deliver the winner against Ohio State. But I would also tell you that after the game, I don't think I have seen John Tillman as disappointed after a loss as he was on Saturday, because he knows, like, they scored 2 goals in the last 3 quarters. And that just is not going to cut it for what they want to be. And so I'm really curious to see what Maryland looks like on Saturday against a Rutgers team that's coming off a tough loss out at Michigan. Are they sharper, or do they get dragged into another one of these low-scoring Big Ten games that they've had a number of these outings now where they just haven't scored enough. They scored 8 against Ohio State, and it was barely enough. They scored 6 against Penn State. 9 against Syracuse?
Yeah.
You kind of run through it. Like, the issue is you're not scoring enough. And so they need to figure out a way to get more out of that offense, or this is not going to be a team that makes one of those typical Maryland postseason runs and gets to Memorial Day weekend. I will say that given what they've done over the last month or so, they've at least put themselves in a spot where they're right around the edge of the field. And so if they can win like the next 2 weekends, I think they're going to be in really good shape to make the tournament. And that means beating Rutgers at home and it means beating a Hopkins team coming off having just rallied past Penn State to get another good win. I mean, on paper, in terms of their profile, I think Hopkins is the best team in the Big Ten right now.
That's an interesting argument. They look dead in the water on Saturday. That was genuinely inspiring stuff from Hopkins.
Yeah, you got to give them credit for having been able to figure things out enough to, come back and after a really, miserable first half or so to win that game. And so, Hopkins now heads out to Ohio State. That's an Ohio State team that's scored now, I think it's 33 goals over its last 5 games. So it almost feels like, can you get to 10? If you can get to 10, you're probably going to be okay there. But, life in the Big Ten is such that getting to 10 is not an easy task for anybody, it seems.
And then I saw you for a minute over at Loyola on Saturday, and while I thought they were capable of beating BU, I did not see that coming whatsoever, and they move into first place. I don't think that anything is a given for them down the stretch or easy, but, it's certainly a better place to be than they were a year ago at this time.
Yeah, better to be sitting at 4-1 in the league and having some significant games coming up. I mean, Loyola still has to play Navy on the road. It still gets Army at home. They go to Lafayette this weekend. They're almost certainly going to be in the conference tournament this year, and that's certainly a good thing for them. I think that when you look at what they did the other day, like 19-11 doesn't really cover what that game was. I mean, they were up 7-0 after a quarter. It was 11-1 at halftime. And Boston University, a team that 10-man rides a lot, you're probably going to – it's not a shock that Loyola was able to get a goal or two off of that. But even when it was 6-on-6, that BU defense just did not look very good. And Loyola, to its immense credit, was able to carve it up. So, Greyhounds obviously playing a lot better this season, a nice bounce-back year for Charlie Toomey and company. And I think, too, it's worth noting that was a really good game for Max Watkinson in the cage, 17 saves against a BU team that was clearly taking every available shot there in the second half, took 21 in the fourth quarter alone. But it's certainly much more interesting, a much more enjoyable situation around here when Loyola is at least in the mix for a Patriot League title, and right now they sit alone atop the conference with 3 games to play.
No doubt about it. All right, let's play the game. Can Patrick Stevens name the MLB teams? And given some of the grids that Patrick showed me this weekend, I don't know that I can make them too difficult for him. I don't know that it's possible. I will begin with a manager this time, and one that, as I say, I don't know if I can make it too difficult. Didn't realize this person qualified, had to be informed of this by a listener. I apologize. I don't remember who it was, because there was a third stint as an interim manager for 1 game. So We'll see how this goes. The manager is Joe Altobelli.
Joe Altobelli was definitely a San Francisco Giants manager.
Certainly was.
He was definitely an Orioles manager.
Obviously won the 83 World Series.
And the one team was at the Cubs.
Oh, my God. How? How do you remember that? All right, then I don't feel bad at all about what I'm about to do to you, because I thought this guy was way too difficult. I said, there's no way, I'm being absurd. 4 teams for someone who I can't believe was ever an All-Star. But not only was he an All-Star once, he also once finished in the top 5 of Rookie of the Year voting. A pitcher, Jair Jurgens, is next on the list.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, we know Atlanta, right?
Obviously Atlanta, yes.
Okay, and everything else is kind of a mess here, of course,
yes,
right?
Very much a mess. 2 different, combined between these other 3 stops, 11 appearances.
Okay. Colorado?
Yes. How? How do you remember Colorado in 2014?
Okay. Let's see. Where else was he? How many games, by the way, in Colorado?
2 in Colorado. So you have a
2, okay.
you have a 7-gamer and a 2-gamer still left on the table.
Okay. Well, was he in Kansas City?
Not in Kansas City.
Okay. I mean, I'm clearly guessing
yeah.
at this point. So, let's see. Where else would he have been? Where else could he have been? That feels like That feels like the sort of flyer the Rays would have taken.
I like where your head's at. You're going to kick yourself for not remembering this, though.
Oh, was he in Washington?
No.
Was he an Oriole?
He was an Oriole in
Was that
2013.
2 games?
That was 2 games. Two games in
What year?
2013.
13.
He was an Oriole for 2 games. I actually did remember that because we made fun of that as a pitching acquisition. We said, what? That's the move that you're making to add pitching? He began his career in Detroit, making 7 starts
Detroit,
in 2007.
okay. I was thinking Detroit might have been the answer there.
And then nice easy one. Give me the 3 teams for the Hall of no, not the Hall of Famer. Obviously, 3 teams for Alex Rodriguez.
That would be Seattle, Texas, and the Yankees.
Lacrosse this week. Where are you going to be at?
Georgetown, Marquette at 1 on Saturday, and then Maryland, Rutgers around the Beltway at 6 o'clock.
Very good. At Discourse, D1S Course on Blue Sky and Twitter, USA Lacrosse Magazine, amongst others. Always appreciate you, bud. We'll talk again next week, all right?
Awesome. Take care, Glenn.
It's Patrick Stevens with us here on GCR, as he is every week. Just because I was thinking about it, I brought up the 2 names that are already in with Josiah Harper and Nick Blake jumping into the portal for Maryland.
Why is Nick Blake leaving?
As Jeff Ehrman explained in the piece that he wrote, it's very much I'm not angry, I'm not unhappy, I just realized I want to play. Yeah. And so he's going to go down to like D2, D3, something like that in order to have the chance to play some basketball. You can't begrudge Nick Blake that at all.
Fine.
It was neat because Maryland had no local players at all on their roster and no local connections. It was clear that connecting to Maryland was of no concern whatsoever to Buzz Williams when he arrived. And I do acknowledge that it's difficult, like putting together a roster. Sometimes you just got to take the players that you can take. You don't really have the ability to get into the community. Still, you could have taken anybody. I don't want to go too far with this.
I would have played. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Blake at least gave you someone who was a connection to Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
That gave you bare minimum.
When you're up by 20 late in games and everyone's chanting,
really,
"We want Nick. We want." Obviously, I guess they
really
weren't
even
up
get
by
to do
20.
that in anything. And obviously, they ultimately.
Sorry, when they're down by 35, you chant, "We want Nick."
They did ultimately add Seth Allen to the staff, right? But in a graduate assistant role, not even as a full-time assistant, but as a graduate assistant. They ultimately added a former Terp to the roster. So, they did something, but it qualified as bare minimum type of stuff. But Nick Blake was never somebody that was coming here to play. Everybody knew he was a walk-on. It was more ceremonial than it was basketball that Nick Blake was going to be at Maryland, so good luck to him. The question becomes who else might be going. There have been a lot of rumors that Miles Rice could be someone that could end up transferring elsewhere. Obviously there's guys that they're just going to lose because they're out of eligibility. We know Pharrell Payne says he's going to be back, but he still has to get his waiver in order to be back. We're all assuming that's going to happen because of the injuries, but it still does have to happen. That has to be the case. And I think somebody told me that there's some rumors that Isaiah Watts might be looking elsewhere as well. Look, man, from the group that we saw last year, Pharrell Payne, Andre Mills, end of list for the most part. If Diggy Coit had more eligibility, you'd be inclined to say keep him around, but he doesn't. Nobody else on that team was somebody that you're like, you got to have that guy back. So anybody else that departs, all good, as long as they are prepared to replace them with legitimate options. And that sort of becomes the question that faces, obviously we know they have Baba and Oladoten and Caden House, sort of the significant pieces of their incoming freshman class. Whatever ended up happening with the kid, I don't remember his name, the 28-year-old that wanted to play. Did he ever end up committing anywhere? Did that ever end up being a thing, or is he still looking for a home? I don't even remember what his name is.
I'm gonna find it.
I enjoyed our conversation with him,
he
too.
was
He was great, and I've already forgotten. Clearly, it was that impactful on me that I remember his name. Jesus, that's a bad look. Just sitting here.
Yeah, I know, but I can't
right?
remember his
A
name
terrible
either.
look that is. And I got segments out of that over on WBAL as well. Like I talked about him for a while because we're certainly not going to talk about Maryland basketball. The hell were we going to say about that?
Kyrie Walker.
Kyrie Walker, thank you. That was his name.
Where is
nice
Kyrie
young man.
Walker?
I like Kyrie. Okay. All right, rock and roll.
I mean, I don't.
It
don't
looks
know.
like he
I don't
hasn't
know.
committed anywhere.
I mean,
appears to be the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know.
Very
that was
good.
his name though.
Thank you. Do appreciate you digging that out. And then a bummer of news because Kaylin Schmeichel from the women's basketball team announced that she was entering the transfer portal as well. Certainly seems like a type of player that someone's going to throw a whole boatload of money at. And that's just the way that this works. It's the big machine, if you will, that you just throw a boatload of money at somebody and see if it can't work for you. We'll come back in. We'll touch on a couple of things. News related to the Ravens uniforms, as well as the Orioles did make a trade, and I hope
they're all in.
I hope Brandon Young enjoyed his time with the Birds. We'll talk about that next. Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certification. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Hey Birdlands, Family Sundays presented by Empowering Education are a day full of fun for kids of all ages. Before the game, meet the Orioles mascots, grab autographs, and watch the kids take the field for the national anthem. During the game, kids take over with kid-friendly music and inning breaks, kid guest splashers, and more. After the final out, stay for Kids Run the Bases presented by Wise Markets, where kids 4 to 12 can run the bases just like the pros. Bring your whole fam to the yard on Sundays. Visit Orioles.com/Family Sundays.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, costasin.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. Pressbox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy. when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. All right, two things I meant to bring up earlier, but we had a bunch of goofy stuff happening. I apologize for that. The Ravens did confirm what a lot of us thought was the reason for the video that they put out on the anniversary. Was that March 29th?
30th?
Yeah, of the anniversary of the day that they got their name. This Next Flight campaign apparently involves something related to uniforms. As they tweeted out earlier today, it's official. We will debut a new uniform collection this year built for the next era of Ravens football. The Next Flight arrives April 16th.
Woo!
Sure. When I talked about this with Rita, by the way, new episode of Rita and Glenn, now available wherever you get your podcasts, and at youtube.com/@Rita and Glenn. Please go subscribe to that. That's the biggest one for us. We just need subscriptions. I don't need new uniforms. I don't. Like, there's nothing about these uniforms that says to me it's time for them to be freshened up. If it's as simple as tweaking color combination, I mean, we've seen just about all of the relevant color combinations you could ask for.
What if they decide to go like red and blue or something?
I have always said that, like, the red quarterback jerseys in training camp look cool. Like, they just look really cool. But you don't need to wear them unless there was some – I'm trying to think of an appropriate reason why you would wear it. Nope, I can't think of anything.
Plenty of good reason.
I've always thought they should make those available for
Thursday night or something. Yeah.
Like, do they sell those ever? Those red quarterback jerseys? Like, I've always thought that would be a cool thing to sell. I do remember there. This is so bizarre. When I was back in the day when I was on the beat, there were a boatload of Ohio State fans that reached out to me about Troy Smith, and who really wanted Troy Smith's red practice jersey. And I was just like, I don't know what to tell you, dog. And so I remember, like, going and asking the Ravens, can these Ohio State fans buy these jerseys? And, like, just wasn't the case. And to the point. I mean, I'm sure the knockoffs, you can.
That's legit.
Yeah, I don't think it's legit.
No, it's legit.
I think that's a knockoff.
Why? It's Reebok.
Yeah, I think that's something that someone made somewhere. Because I don't ever remember them being made available for purchase, the red jerseys. But I think those would be cool as, like, a novelty for fans to have. But I don't think you need to wear them in a game. I just don't. I don't know.
On field.
Great. Okay, then that's what it is.
NFL equipment.
They're saying it's legit. God bless. Why are we so obsessed with this? Why is this something you're obsessed with?
You just said I would love to have a red jersey, didn't you?
No, I think I said I think that they would be cool to make them available for fans to purchase. I don't think they need to wear them. I have no interest in incorporating into the color scheme. I just think it's something that you should be able to, when you go to buy a jersey, if you want to buy the red practice jersey because it looks cool. God bless.
There you go. This one's on eBay.
I don't care this much about this topic.
You brought it up.
I just don't. I brought it up to move on from it. You're the one that's continuing to.
It's $97. Should I make an offer?
No. Unless you want it. If you want it, by all means.
Kinda.
Go get it.
You're talking me into it.
It is a cool looking jersey. I've always felt that way, that it looks cool.
Let me share it with the people.
It also kind of looks like a replacements bit, right? Like, it sort of seems like you're wearing a Shane Falco jersey when it's actually Flacco. There's that.
Look at that on field.
Okay, man. You got it. I don't know why we're still doing this. If I see them,
news.
If I see them and they look cool, then God bless. But I don't care. I just don't feel as though the Ravens need new uniforms in any way. But if I see them, they look cool, then neato, gang, neato. The Orioles have made a trade. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. You said they needed bullpen help, and they went out and they got it for you. To think that you were down on the moves the Orioles had made in the bullpen, that's just because you didn't know Nick Rackett.
I think it's Rackett.
Nick Rackett.
Just me guessing, but
Nick Rackett. You have no idea.
There's going to be a lot of racket coming out of the bullpen.
There you go. Banger. Make sure you get that one tweeted out before everybody steals it from you. This guy, he's coming to pitch for the Orioles. Nick Raquette, whatever. We should probably get to the bottom of that.
Well, hold on, let me see if I can find the best Nick Rackett highlights.
He is Raquet. Nick Raquet. I was right the first time. Bet you feel stupid. Nick Raquet is now an Oriole. He pitches with his left hand. List of things that I know about him. I've got nothing else for you. He has not pitched much in the bigs. With the Cardinals in spring training this year, he made 4 appearances. Pitched to a 2.25 ERA over 4 innings. Last season, he made 2 appearances for the St. Louis Cardinals, as you see right there on your screen. He pitched 2 scoreless innings.
All right.
So, solving your problems.
Missing link.
Brandon Young, sorry, bud. Brandon Young gets sent back down after 5 scoreless innings last night, which means that they think someone else will start the next time. And as I said, they could conceivably stretch it out until Tuesday of next week for when they would need a 5th starter again. But that would require doing the thing that they kind of clearly didn't want to do at the top of the rotation, Rogers and Bradish, and have them start on normal rest. Particularly given that those guys are going to need to start on normal rest next week because there is no off day. I'm just working under the assumption that they don't choose to have them start on normal rest this time. If that's the case, then you would need another starter on Sunday. Could that be Dean Kramer? It looks less and less as though it's going to be Zach Eflin anytime soon because the sort of part of this that was quiet in the acquisition of Nick Raquet was that Zach Eflin was transferred to the 60-day DL, or IL. So, yeah, it's bad. We still don't know exactly what that opinion was, but we know it ain't good. And Zach Eflin goes to the 60-day IL, so the Orioles need to plan the 5th starter spot to not involve Zach Eflin. I would think that would mean that they want to get Dean Kramer back in the rotation sooner than later. They have the opportunity to try that again. I don't know when he pitched on He pitched Friday, correct?
Yeah.
So he couldn't make another start this week and be available on Sunday.
Yes, they'd have to hold him off for eight days, which I guess is.
Or they could just bump,
they could bump Boz or Bassett back, I guess.
Yes, that would also be an option. Like, they could just decide to have him pitch next Friday or this coming Friday against the Giants.
So Boz pitched Saturday?
Yeah, it would go.
So right now it lines up for Boz and Bassett to go Friday, Saturday.
Correct. And then they would need a starter on Sunday unless they wanted to have Rogers pitch on normal rest, but I just don't think they do. Again, particularly because they have to have him do it next week. Now, maybe that makes them say, hey, if he's got to do it next week, let's do it now and get him ready for that. But their reluctance to do it this past time around makes me think that they're trying to use this with Rogers and Bradish and their innings. They're trying to
all the early off days,
avoid that if they can. So I'm thinking they want a starter for Sunday. If they are determined that it's going to be Kramer, perhaps they just decide he starts on Friday and then stack again from there. Have Boz on Saturday, Bassett Sunday.
Suarez and Povich around so that they...
Yes, those are definitely still options. Like, it doesn't have to be Kramer. Like, you can keep doing this, but you need 5 starters.
That's,
moving forward, and it ain't going to be Eflin. So I just don't know why you wouldn't want to get it back to being Dean Kramer at some point soon. But that's the deal. That's the move made by the Orioles today as Nick Raquet becomes a bullpen option of some sort for them moving forward. All right, have we covered everything we need to cover? Can we get a tidbit?
I think so.
John in Little Rock was speaking about Tyler O'Neill, said, how about this? Be a pro and run hard all the time. It's quite simple. Athletes try hard and give effort all the time. That's not true, John. I mean, a lot do. It's not true. There are plenty of guys that don't run out every ground ball. There's plenty of guys that have, a line for how hard they run out a ground ball. Even a Gunnar Henderson, you can see there are some ground balls that, he's not jaking it, but he is not running nearly as hard as he would be if he thought he could beat it out. I understand the sentiment of we want every guy to run like their hair is on fire at all times. We want every baseball player to play like their hair is on fire. We just love that. We're romantic about it. Should they? It's a more complicated question than that. And in an era of data, that data matters. And I don't know how much the teams talk about this. We all know that Tyler O'Neill needed to. What happened last night was unacceptable. But it's more complicated than just you should always run as fast as you can at all times. Because teams are so obsessed with data, if the data tells them that the trade-off on the likelihood of a guy getting hurt versus a guy, reaching first base because of a bobble says, hey, man, you ground the ball to shortstop, run, but don't go crazy. I don't have all the answers. I just think it's more complicated than we want to make it. And I have no idea who this person is or what this has to do with anything, who says, are there more Yankees fans at O's games this year than the O's fans? They haven't played the Yankees. How would I know that?
Yeah, there are more. They haven't played the Yankees yet, but Yankees are outnumbering O's already.
Is that what it is? They're just showing up for the sake of showing up?
They're just showing up.
I mean, this is such a bizarre... I know he thinks he's trolling, but I don't even know what...
Well, I mean, I guess his point is that's why they're doing Bravo Night. It's against the Yankees. So that's why they have to do Bravo Night. They're trying to get more people.
Griffin really wants to put over Bravo Night. He's very excited about Bravo Night.
I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
The Orioles are doing something with Bravo. So there's that.
There's going to be Real Housewives at the August 19th against the Yankees.
That's not Robin, is it? That's not Juan's wife, is it?
I don't think so. No, it's not. They said Lisa Barlow and Giselle Bryant will be there.
Whoever they are.
And you get a Bravo Oriole cap.
If that is something that interests you, God bless. I mean, I'm not angry, but by all means, do all the nights. Do Nickelodeon night. Do
that's a good one.
The VH1 Classic night. Do ESPN 8 the Ocho night. Do all the nights to try to get people at the ballpark if it makes sense economically for you. I don't know what it costs to bring whoever these people are in, but if the
Real Housewives.
I don't know who they are.
I just told you.
My wife is a Real Housewife. I don't think she's going
Lisa
to the game.
Barlow. Maybe she will.
I don't.
Does she know about this? Does she know about
Bravo
Night?
I don't know. She's not a fan of Real Housewives. I'm saying she's an actual housewife. She's in reality.
Well, she's finally getting some
housewife.
representation.
Great point. There have never been housewives allowed
at Oriole games. Never.
100%. But God bless it. Do all the nights, and if you can sell tickets because of it, then cool, man. Very cool. Do a flying spaghetti monster night. Do whatever night you can come up with. Tonight's next week is lacrosse night, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, love lacrosse night. The kids got their pennies last year, and they wore them, pennies, and the whole deal. God bless. It don't affect me in any way. Bravo night. Neato, gang.
Bravo.
Neato. Yeah, thank you. Quickly from trivia last night, we did win last night, despite the fact that
this guy.
So this is crazy. We didn't have either of our smarts at the game last night.
Well, yeah, I wasn't there.
No, that wasn't. You went there once, Griffin. You showed up one time, and then you said.
And did we win? I don't remember.
I don't remember if we won or not that night.
Probably. I was there.
So neither of our smarts were there last night, and yet we had. I think I mentioned on the show yesterday.
So where do you rank on the?
I'm a specialist.
You stopped special?
I'm a specialist. I'm a sports specialist. I'm a music specialist. I'm a black female politician specialist, and oddly, the Bible.
So on the rankings total, so you're third or second? Well, I guess you're not second if you're the top. The top two weren't there.
Well, last night.
So what? You were the leader last night?
No, I think that our movie guy was still. Although he screw. Oh God, did he screw something up last?
The movies or
no? It was so much. More
I thought your movie guy
embarrassing
always struggled with movies.
There was a category that was like. The common theme was the category, and it was 3 different questions. And the first question was, this landmark in Chicago is known for launching the careers of, I can't remember who they used, Dan Aykroyd and Tina Fey, Bill Murray. It's Second City Comedy Club. It's incredibly famous. It's very well known. Obviously, you knew that. You just chose not to say it because...
Second City Comedy Club,
of course,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then the last question was, this song is the...
I was going to say Magoobies, but no.
Yeah, no, probably not Magoobies. This song is the first song track on the legendary legendary Fleetwood Mac album Rumors.
It's the first song.
Yeah, I know that you don't know it. You
no,
don't have
I
to,
might know
you
it.
don't have to pretend.
Dreams isn't first, is it?
No.
Then The Chain?
No. There's a theme, remember?
Rhiannon,
There's
maybe?
a theme. Common theme.
Oh.
And you already know
So
Second City.
So it's named after a city? Tusk?
No, it's not named after a city.
Second
is the theme.
So is that in the title?
Yes, it starts with that.
Second, I guess I don't know.
Oh, boy. Secondhand News, which is a great Fleetwood Mac song. It's excellent. So I got that. The second one of the three was incredibly obvious, and so we didn't really spend a whole lot of time talking about it because the second one says, this begins with the words, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, which, of course, is the Second Amendment. Everyone knows that. Griffin obviously knew that, and again, just chose not to say it immediately because of reasons.
Well,
of
course,
course,
you said it all,
so we all look at each
one
other
breath.
and nod because we obviously knew the answer, right?
Second Amendment, yeah.
So we all knew Second City. We all knew Second Amendment. I was pretty confident about Secondhand News, right? So he hands me the slip of paper, shows me, and I'm looking to make sure that he said Secondhand News. I said, yes, of course, that's the answer. So I walk it up. Didn't look at what he had written down for either of the other two. Didn't bother to look.
So this is
because
on you.
they were so obvious that I didn't think. I swear to God, we found out that he wrote down for the second one. Instead of writing the word Second Amendment, he wrote down second to none. What is that? What is that?
Well, it's not.
Where did he even come up with it?
It would mean first.
He wrote down the word second to none. And we're all like sitting back like, I'm very happy about how I got all three of these answers, and they were very easy. And apparently people didn't do so well with Secondhand News, so I felt better about myself, only to find out that we didn't get all three because our movie guy, who nailed all the movie questions for what it's worth.
Well, you should have checked. You're the one that handed it in. You should have checked them.
Botched. And wrote down the words second to none. What starts with a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state?
Second to none.
And then we said, Brad, what's second to none? And we just got back this. Pointing at me. What do you mean pointing?
Well, you were the one who ran it up. You should have looked at it.
God.
You
so
kind of
bad.
you apparently you looked at the piece of
We
paper.
won.
Too.
I didn't.
You
in fact,
signed off on
I
it.
did not get all of the possible sports points last night for what it's worth.
Uh-oh.
The one they were
Specialist.
and they're both fairly easy. One was this country defeated the U.S. to win the World Baseball Classic.
That would be the Venezuela.
And of course, it was Venezuela, obviously. And then there are only 3 men to have won the Masters 4 or more times. Who are those 3 men?
Tiger. I don't know. I won't get it. How many? There's 4, you said?
There's 3 men,
3 men
to have won the Masters 4 or more times.
Tiger. Ben, what's his name?
Ben, what's his name? Oh, Ben, what's his name?
I'll go
Ben Hogan?
Yeah, Ben Hogan.
Crenshaw?
No, Hogan.
Okay.
Hogan, Woods.
Yeah.
Palmer.
We went with Woods, Nicholas.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Of
course
I'll do Nicholas.
Yeah, that's a good one because he's won the Masters the most times of everyone. And then I don't know why I talked myself out of Palmer. I was like, I don't think it's Palmer. I think that's like the trick.
So we
like,
both went 2 for 3.
Everybody thinks it's Palmer, but it's actually Sam Snead. Sam Snead only won the Masters 3 times.
I knew
Palmer
that.
Won the Masters 4 times. So left that on the table, but we won anyway. That's the good news.
Great. Well done.
Tidbit brought to you today by the print issue of Press Box. We are in the final days for this print issue of Press Box. Go get it for free at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores and at the hundreds of locations around town, or read it all by going to PressBoxOnline.com. Cal Ripken on the cover.
Kevin Gausman last week had another good start. He through his first 2 starts, Kevin Gausman went 6 innings and did not allow a run, and also struck out 10. And had no walks. Those are the qualifiers. It's 10 strikeouts, no walks in his first 2 starts of the season. No other pitcher has done that.
I believe it. That's very difficult to do.
13th time that Gausman has gone 10 strikeouts, 0 walks. There are 11 guys that have done it more.
All time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Greg Maddux.
Greg Maddux, shockingly, not on this list.
It is quite shocking.
Yeah. I guess he would just get guys out, I guess. Is that?
I mean, it was like he wasn't a dominant strikeout pitcher, but he had a lot of strikeouts.
Or he just had like one walk every couple months. He is outside the top 25, less than 10 for Maddux.
How about, Randy Johnson?
Randy Johnson is number 1, 36 times.
I was just trying to think of guys that wouldn't walk people. I guess I got to go to strikeout. Nolan Ryan.
Another shocker.
I mean, it's not a shocker because he walked guys. Like, it's just that he had a lot of strikeouts.
Oh, I guess good pitcher, just not on the list. Yeah, he is also outside of the top 25.
How about I don't know, Bob Gibson?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you should. I guess you should be more modern.
Okay. Kershaw.
Kershaw's on the list. He's 3rd all time.
Scherzer.
Scherzer's 2nd all time. Randy, Scherzer, Kershaw, the top 3. Verlander's up there. He's top 8.
How many am I supposed to be getting?
We need 11.
Jesus Christ.
Gausman's 12th.
Modern. Adam Wainwright.
No bueno.
Chris Sale.
Chris Sale's up there. He's tied top 8 as well. Tied 7th with Verlander. 20 such starts with Verlander.
Bum.
Sale's a bum?
No, Mattis Bumgarner. How about Bum?
No, he's right outside the 12. Gausman was at 13. Bumgarner had 12. So yeah, he is a bum.
Yeah, loser. Felix Hernandez.
No king.
Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole's up there. 5th.
Zach Greinke.
Greinke's a good guess. No, Greinke is tied with Matt Bum.
Aaron Nola.
No Aaron Nola.
Zach Are they active or
Zach Wheeler? No, not all of them. Zach Wheeler's up there, 15. He's top 11. 1, 2, 3,
got 7 so far.
4 left. Yeah, 4 left. 2 are inactive.
Okay.
2 are still active.
2 are still active.
Sorry, wait a minute. Sorry, 3 inactive. 1 is active. My bad.
One's active. DeGrom.
DeGrom is the last active guy.
Now they're all inactive.
Yes.
CeCe.
No.
Pedro Martinez.
2 ahead of DeGrom, 2 behind Verlander. He's 9th. And then you're missing number 4 and number 6 on this list.
Number 6. Pettit.
No.
Clemens.
Clemens is number 6.
I should have gone a little bit earlier with Roger Clemens.
This guy's actually technically tied for 3rd. He's tied with Kershaw. This guy.
Tied with Kershaw.
27 such starts. 10 strikeouts. No walks. Not Glavine.
Smoltz.
Not Smoltz.
Messina.
Messina is tied with that Bumgarner and Greinke.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
But he is a former Oriole.
He's a former Oriole. Fernando Valenzuela.
No.
Jamie Moyer.
No.
Former Oriole.
Didn't pitch a whole lot with the Orioles. Had 1.
Is it a trick question and it's Johan Santana?
No. Santana's up here, I think. No, Santana's not up there.
Oh, Kurt Schilling?
Kurt Schilling is top 3, tied for 3rd. Most starts of 10 strikeouts and no walks, MLB history.
Very good. Let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. As we mentioned, Orioles bumping the game up a little bit. They'll play this afternoon, 3:10 on Masson. Trevor Rogers and Shane Smith for Game 2 against the White Sox. And then if you don't have plans tonight, maybe go over to Catonsville because UMBC is hosting Maryland in baseball at 6 o'clock on AmericaEast.tv. Everything else, you can go to GlennClarkRadio.com and find it there. Yeah, I got nothing else. It's what it is.
My thing's not loading. Hold on.
Great. Dynamite stuff, man.
Probably nothing good. I can't.
This is the type of day that we've had. This is the way that it would go.
What's today? Tuesday. Season 2 finale of High Potential. Oh,
Okay.
Season 1 finale of Best Medicine. So
all right,
tune in
yeah,
for that.
okay.
Tune in for that.
Very
Best
good.
Medicine. And then Untold Chessmates. It's the one with the thing.
Oh, the guy that put the thing up his butt
Yeah,
to play chess, right? And they-
Magnus Carlsen. Hans Niemann is the guy who
Okay.
beat Magnus. And Magnus was like, "You're cheating."
Yeah.
And I can't.
Is
remember.
Magnus Carlsen the guy that took the selfie with the girl this weekend and then turned and
confiscated
said,
her phone.
yeah,
or
right?
had them
Like,
confiscated her phone. Yeah.
That's
that
pretty
was
good.
him. That was Magnus. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's this week's Netflix Untold. So.
All right. Very good. Very good. Everything else, GlennClarkRadio.com. Thanks today to Patrick Stevens. Now, this is a bit wacky, but if you're listening to the show later, we had another guest at the end of the show that we were very excited to talk to. If you're watching live, it's nobody. But pay attention because it might pop up. We had a convoluted day today. That's all I can say. A very convoluted day, and a neat guest decided to join us. And we thank him as well. We think. Maybe. It hasn't happened yet. But it's going to be attached to this show. So if you're listening live or watching live, check again later. Because there was, I think, another good guest.
And hopefully not too much later either.
I hope, yeah. And we would normally just save that for the next day, but you might remember that I told you there is no tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, there is. I'm sorry.
What?
There is no tomorrow. No, we will be off tomorrow, and then afternoon shows at 3 o'clock on Thursday and Friday because of my schedule elsewhere this week. So no show tomorrow, afternoon on Thursday and Friday. That's the way the week is going to go. So please join us for that. And thanks to the other guests that we think you'll be hearing after I say Duke sucks. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Cruise Maryland, Live Casino and Hotel, the Costas Inn, Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Quigley's Half Irish Pub, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, BuyAToyota.com, and the Baltimore Orioles. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.